10 ways that Donald Trump undermined the progress of Black families, Black men, Black women, Black children. If you want to know the ways that Donald Trump actually, in his first year of office, just deleted all the progress that Barack Obama had put in place just for Black families, listen to this video. Donald Trump removed policies and practices and initiatives that his Democratic predecessor, Barack Obama, had put in place specifically to help Black families, including, but not limited to, a policy to track when school systems were disproportionately putting Black children on suspension and giving them harsher penalties compared to white counterparts. Tracking payday lending institutions from their predatory practices in Black communities. Tracking housing discrimination that were particularly targeting Black families and keeping them in cycles of poverty. Anti-racism training in federal workplace. Allow for more Black families, Black women, men, and children, especially those who didn't have traditional jobs, to finally get health care, and also not get denied coverage because of their pre-existing conditions, which a lot of Black communities have: diabetes, hypertension, high blood pressure, Provide an alternative to incarceration for low-level, nonviolent offenders who were cycled in and out of jail systems, like drug rehabilitation and workplace initiatives. And HBCU funded. Watch this whole video for all the receipts.
Said that he did his research. The infamous, I did my research, so I did too. So let's talk about 10 ways that Donald Trump, during his past administration when he was president, instituted policies or unraveled policies that under the Obama administration that negatively impacted Black women, children, families, and Black men in particular. So let's compare notes. During his last few weeks in office, Donald Trump reinstated the federal death penalty. And that last month, 4 of the 5 people scheduled and put to death were Black men. One of them was a woman, the first time a woman was executed in 70 years. And at that time, 44% of the remaining death row inmates were Black. And the Black people only represent 13% of the population. Number 2, you've heard of the school to prison pipeline. Black kids are disciplined at a disproportionately high rate compared to their white peer counterparts. And when they are disciplined, they're given severely harsh penalties. So under Barack Obama's initiative, actually, I was present during one of those sessions, he instituted a policy so school systems would track suspensions so we can kind of get to the root of the problem. When Donald Trump came into office, he eliminated and removed that program. So no more tracking to see if our kids are going to be overwhelmingly and disproportionately disciplined harshly. Donald Trump did that. Number 3, federal employees used to receive anti-racism training. When Donald Trump came into office, he said it was un-American for anti-racism training. I'm reminding of that popular saying that says, America and racism kind of like go hand in hand, so much so that when you're protesting racism, people think you're protesting America. Healthcare. So if you don't know, Black MAGA, a lot of times families, including Black men and Black families, do not do traditional jobs. So they may make enough money to make a living, but not enough to get on Medicaid or Medicare, and they wouldn't qualify, and they couldn't afford private health insurance. So for the first time under the Affordable Health Care Act, a lot of gig workers, contractors of all races, but including Black men and Black families, were able to get health care for the first time. One of my relatives, actually, for the first time he went to the dentist, first time he got eye care, vision, all that sort of stuff was under the Affordable Health Care Act. Donald Trump has proposed to remove Obamacare, Affordable Health Care Act, and he does not have a plan to replace it. You heard at the debate, Donald Trump said he has concept of a plan, but however, while he was in office, he worked with the Republicans in Congress to try to remove Obamacare, the Affordable Health Care Act.
Let Obamacare fail, or just let Obamacare fail.
Means that all of those people who have pre-existing conditions, and we know Black community, Black people have high rates of hypertension, heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, all sorts of conditions, means that you wouldn't be able to get insurance if Donald Trump removes the Affordable Health Care Act, as he's proposed to do. Don't mind when J.D. Vance says that Donald Trump was trying to keep it and he saved it. No, he didn't. He tried actively to remove it.
Obamacare fail. I've been saying that, Mike, I think you'll agree, for a long time. Let Obamacare fail, or just let Obamacare fail.
He said it was a horrible thing, so he wants to remove it. So when he removes it, if he removes it, that's a lot of Black men and Black family and Black parents, including everyone else, that's going to be out of their health care, including a lot of people in red states who are also voting against their interest. Number 5, so under Barack Obama administration, he realized that payday lending institutions, those shops, were actually predatory and making it hard for people in impoverished areas to get around, because they were giving them loans at 25%, 35%, 40% interest rate when someone just needed to pay a bill real quick, or get somebody into the hospital, or do something, get some medicine or formula, and just predatory. So they put in place a policy to try to curb that. Guess who removed that program that was going to help marginalized communities and impoverished communities? Donald Trump got rid of it. Like I said in my last video, following the death of Freddie Gray during the Baltimore, there was a whole bunch of decrees, plans to do nationwide police reform, to include more community policing, to sort of take away, just do some more things to stop the aggressive policing that ended with the deaths of a lot of unarmed black men. So that was put in place. When Donald Trump came into office, Jeff Sessions, his Department of Justice, just took that off. So no more studying, no more trying to create model community. So that model that we were trying to study, that came to an end because Donald Trump did not believe in that, and Jeff Sessions, they just ended it. Was that in your notes too? Number 7, there's a talking point that Donald Trump gave more money and funded HBCUs for the first time, which is not true. The first time HBCUs got its own separate funding was under George Bush. Now, that program got continued under Barack Obama. Unfortunately, it lapsed during Trump administration. You know what Trump did when he saw that? He said, what the hell is this doing here? He's like, why do they need special funding? He zeroed out the HBCU funding in his budget. Representative Alma had to put it back. She's a member of the HBCU caucus. They talked to him. There was a negotiation. Finally, he did put it back in. It was like $285 million with an additional $85 million. And it's not more than any other president have gotten. So that's a false talking point. In fact, the Biden administration had actually promised billions of dollars compared to Donald Trump's. So the Biden-Harris administration actually put more money in the HBCUs. So Donald Trump actually, again, zeroed out the HBCU budget because he didn't see the purpose of it. There was an Office of African American Affairs that used to do programs and talk about initiatives specific to African American voting bloc under Obama administration. I think it was created during his second term. And when Donald Trump came into office, he closed that office. So no more Office of African American Affairs. The Obama administration also had policies working with making sure that communities, when they develop communities and housing developments, that there isn't a policy stopping those communities from allowing black families to move in. So that was in place. Guess who decided? Again, like I said in my last video, he didn't think white people wanted to live with black people anyway. So of course, Donald Trump is going to take away that initiative to make sure there's no discrimination in housing development. Your guy's my Black MAGA, that's your guy. Finally, the Department of Justice under Eric Holder has started the Smart on Crime Initiative. What was that? The Smart on Crime Initiative was an initiative to stop those people who were going through cycling in and out of the prison, out of jail and things like that. But based on low-level crimes like theft, they found that a lot of times it was just because the people who were doing those things were drug addicted. So according to that plan, they would actually put these people in drug treatment programs, try to give them some skills, help them get jobs to keep them out of prison, keep them out of jail so they can go back to their families. And who removed the Smart on Crime Initiative when he got in office? Donald Trump. He is not your friend. From the first to the 10th policy, everything I've stated in this video shows that he has worked to undermine progress when it comes to policies that were in place to help black communities. Combine that with what I said about stop and frisk. Combine that with what we know about him saying that he's going to actually give police immunity.
Combine that with his commitment to keep military bases named after Confederate generals.
So that's really not a good thing. I don't think it's a good thing. But since you did your research, Mr. I did my research, I'm assuming that you know these things. But if you didn't, you can add these and then you can compare and say, well, you have these things, but yet you have Kamala, who did not put thousands and thousands of black men in jail, like people say, during 2004 to 2014, during her when she was AG, there was this policy for cracking down on marijuana use. And guess how many people got arrested? 45, and they all weren't black men because they didn't say specifically the race of the people who were under this. So not thousands and thousands of black men, 45, and they all weren't necessarily black. But you know what they were, most likely? Not put to death. All right, now you know your research. I hope that helps you out. I'm just trying to help. So combine that with the other information I told you in my last 2 videos. If you want to continue to vote for someone who doesn't seem to have your best interest in mind, go ahead and do that. But Share this video with the Black MAGA in your family, or any MAGA member in your family, or anybody who plans to root for Donald Trump if they think they're a good person and they think that, that his policies, they always talk about his policies. That's part of his policies, a policy of hate, division, and just like not necessarily good for the Black family.